We are joined by Robert Stack. He has spoken with us before. He's president, CEO of a nonprofit organization, Community Options Incorporated, that we have talked about before. You'll learn about the organization and about an event that is upcoming actually next weekend. It's nice to speak with you again. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Community Options Incorporated. In your own words, how do you describe the organization?
Well, it's a nonprofit organization. Actually, we're very excited, Bob. This year, we'll be celebrating our 25th year anniversary, and our mission is to develop housing and employment for people with disabilities. Simply stated, that's all we do.
Congratulations on the 25th anniversary, and we'll be talking about the Cupid's Chase event in the course of our discussion. And as I understand, the anniversary actually is, I guess, the day after Cupid's Chase on the 9th, which would be a week from today, is the actual anniversary date. Okay. How did Community Options start?
I had, when I was a young kid, I worked as a volunteer to help children with disabilities, and I thought that it was a good thing to do. And I went to college and graduate school, and then I got involved in the field, and I started working for a couple of state organizations, and then I worked for the for a nonprofit, and I decided that I wanted to take some of the best practices. Basically, Bob, I called up some of my good friends from college and grade school and people with disabilities, families, and said, I want to start this nonprofit. You guys want to get involved? And they all said, yeah, that would be a great idea. And that was a little over 25 years ago, and then we incorporated in New Jersey. And we started this organization, and it's been a really wonderful thing. And I started from my kitchen table by myself.
You've become, as an organization, the 8th largest nonprofit in the Garden State. Is that right?
That's correct. We started with no money at all, and we started with no. I always tell the joke that when I had a wall phone. This was 1989. This was before they had internet, before they had Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. This was when the Dow Jones stock market was at 2,000. And I used to answer the phone on the wall. This was before cell phones, really, and I'd say, Community Options. Please hold. I'll see if Robert Stack's available. And then I would hold the phone for a second and say, hey, how are you?
Well, the receptiveness that the organization has gotten over the years, how has that changed?
Well, it's right now, the truth of the matter is we could open up if we had, funding anywhere we wanted to, because families are very, very happy with the services that we provide. Just to give you a really interesting statistic, in 1991, 92, we opened up our first 3 houses, and the houses are small houses. You would never know where we were, and they're just small houses that we buy. And 3 or 4 people with disabilities would move into those houses, and we would have. And so what it is it's Mr. and Mrs. Jones. So Mr. and Mrs. Jones have a son with autism spectrum disorder, or Mr. and Mrs. Jones have a son with intellectual disabilities or cerebral palsy. Well, they'll take care of their son for most of their lives, but the problem is that eventually, they get older, and their son gets older, and their son or daughter doesn't necessarily want to live with them. So they'll contact the state, or they'll contact an organization like ours, and they'll say, can you help us? So we'll try to find 2 other people for them to live with, and they'll move into a house, and it works out really, really well. And then we help them find a job, and that works out really well too. And we started with our first 3 houses in New Jersey in 1991, 92, and right now, Bob, we have 101 houses just in New Jersey. Throughout the country, we have well over 200 houses.
Mm-hmm. Any specific areas of the country?
Well, we're actually in several states. We're in New Jersey, almost all of the 21 counties in New Jersey. We're in New York. We're anywhere from Harlem to Syracuse to Binghamton. We're in Pennsylvania. We're in Philly and Pittsburgh. We're in Nashville. We're in several states. We're in Kentucky. So we've been developing where states want us to get involved in, and we're very excited to do that.
Now, I've also read that your organization has been involved with, with some support services in some countries outside of the United States. Is that right?
Yes, we've been. We had a very strong organization. We worked very well in Cairo, Egypt, and that's not going. We're not there anymore. They've had some political strife there, and they're still trying to figure out what to do. But what we do, Bob, is we don't ever want to set up a shop in a region like that forever. What we do is we work with the indigenous people. We teach them what our technology is. We teach them what kind of values we have. We teach them how to treat people with disabilities in this country, and they try to emulate that. The families are very, very receptive to that, and they try to get the government involved as well. We also worked in Moscow. We worked in Peru, and we've been asked to look into opening up stuff in the Middle East again. What we do is we teach them. It's the old joke. You teach a guy how to fish rather than give him a fish. So what we do is we teach them how to do things. For example, in Egypt, as you know, they have a lot of issues where they don't, where they have a lot of bombs and such, and they've had a lot of people lose their arms or legs and their limbs, and they have pretty primitive methodologies for developing prosthetics. So we taught them how to do that, and gradually they were able to adapt our technology, and then they learned it. And once they're able to do what we teach them how to do, we gradually fade until they're independent.
Mm-hmm. Your work and working with people with disabilities, in a way, what you're really doing is you're empowering them. But in a way, is that also kind of addressing perhaps some of the stereotypes that people have about people with disabilities?
Yes, yes, and we're everyone, there's an old, I don't know if it's true, but they say the etymology of the word handicap came from cap in your hand.
Right.
Beggar. And people have had this idea that people with disabilities want a handout, or that people with disabilities. My joke, a lot of my friends with disabilities say they think that we can't hear. And I say, why do you say that? And they'll say, because whenever they meet me, they'll go, "How are you? Are you okay?" Mm-hmm. No, I can hear. They just may not think as quickly as you or I, or they might have a different kind of view of the world that you and I do, but but we all have different views of the world, and we all process things differently, but we can all add something to society. We can all add some level of productivity, and we can always benefit people in the future whenever we want to help individuals.
You mentioned the work in the area of housing. What about in the area of employment?
Great question. We have a lot of people with disabilities that are employed in traditional jobs. We have a relationship with a national, or actually it's now an international movie chain, where if you go around, you'll notice us. We're the guys that we're the guys that butter your popcorn. We're the guys that take your tickets. And there's a lot of us that are involved in the theater business now, and that we're the ones that clean the movie theaters. That's an important thing. We're involved in a lot of small factories and that sort of thing. We're also involved in working in various kinds of traditional employment that anyone would need people with disabilities. One thing good about people with disabilities, to pitch any employer out there who's listening, is that we always show up on time, and we approach our job with dignity and grace, and we're reliable. And Community Options, what Community Options, our organization, does is we have what we call job coaches. We take a person with a disability to the job. The job coach actually does the job alongside that person, so we're actually doing the exact same job that the person with a disability does until that person with disability can do the job independently, and we empower, as you would say, Bob, that person to do the job, and then we fade so that if the employer or the manager has a problem and they need us for anything, they could just pick up the phone and call us, and we're at their beck and call to see if we can help make sure everything's okay. And the other thing I want to say is that if it doesn't work out, we don't know how to spell that big word, litigious. If a person with disability is placed in a job and the employer says, this isn't working out, we can always come up with another person who they might want to consider.
One aspect that's very important is this idea of that self-esteem that comes for so many of us when we get a paycheck. I mean, that great feeling that comes with your first check, I mean, that's got to be incredible for the people that you're working with.
Yeah, Bob, it's true. And when you feel, I remember placing a guy in a job a long, long time ago, and it had his name on the vest of the restaurant. Mm-hmm. And he said, "What do you think my friends are gonna say when they see my name on the vest of this restaurant?" I said, "They're gonna think you work at that restaurant." Big smile, because he had a job. And then when he got his paycheck, it showed that he had a level of independence and he could control his own life, and that he earned that by work. He didn't just get it handed to him. He earned that paycheck, and that meant so much to him. But, there's even far more reaching ideas here. We all work for money. That's true. But we also work to feel good about what we do. And if that person can wipe that table down and feel good about it, or if that person can shred that document and feel good about it, or that person can give you that soda and feel good about it, then that's going to be something that they feel like they've accomplished something and they've helped others. And the other thing is, Bob, I'm sure, I know I have so many colleagues and friends that I've developed over the years through my job. People with disabilities, this is a venue for them to do that. I've always said...
Actually, hold that thought. I want to follow on that point because it's an interesting area where you're going, and I want you to be able to have enough time to do that. You're talking about employment, and before we paused for our update and messages, you were talking about colleagues and the impact on the people that you work with of connecting with colleagues?
Yes, I was just going to say that one of my old mantras is that there's a direct relationship between the severity of your disability and your level of loneliness, mm-hmm. and that when we. People with disabilities, people with disabilities kind of have the same problem that celebrities do. They're surrounded by people that are paid to be around them if they're like in a house or they're in a special school or whatever. So if they're out there in a regular job, then a lot of other people all of a sudden instantly become their peers and their teammates and their friends. And it's a whole other kind of way of looking at things for them. And so that's one of the real reasons why we try to get people with disabilities jobs. It's so that they can interact and interface and deal with other people.
And part of getting them jobs involves sometimes getting them involved with things that can evolve into, I guess, their own sense of ownership with the business.
Yeah, sure. We Bob, what we've done is, we have the traditional jobs where we go to a fast food restaurant or we go to someplace like that. But we also, Community Options, we've actually started our own entrepreneurial businesses. And they've been in existence for 15, almost 20 years. And we're always trying to develop new ones. But we have our own flower store. It's called Vaseful. So, if you go to a flower store, and we deliver flowers for any occasion, Valentine's Day or a wedding or whatever. We do weddings, we do everything. But they're all people, the people that work there are 14 people with very significant disabilities. And maybe the guy can answer the phone and take the order. And maybe the person can wipe down the refrigeration unit, or maybe the person can help deliver the flowers. So we have our own flower store, and that's been a tremendous. Now we have 2 flower stores. Last time I talked to you, last year we had 1. Now we have 2. So we're very excited about having 2 flower stores, and we're able to pay the people with disabilities minimum wage or better. We also work, and we also have an office buildings called the Daily Planet, like Superman, where your business is the center of our universe. And what we do is we provide the infrastructure. So if you you were an attorney, or you were an architect, or you were a real estate person, or whatever, and you needed a small office, we would rent this office to you, and we would answer the phone for you, and we would do everything you needed, but that would all be done by people with disabilities. And we have them, we have 3 of them in New Jersey. We have 1 in Dallas, Texas, and we're developing those as well, and they're wonderful.
For people who are listening to our discussion today, because we have a lot of people who sometimes they hear something on this program and they go to follow up on it. Sometimes it's days, hours, many cases it's weeks and months, in some cases even years later. How can they get more information on Community Options Incorporated and some of the things that we're talking about?
All they have to do is Google Community Options, and we'll come up. That's all they have to do. Or they can just go to our website is comop, COMOP.org, which is hard to remember. But if you go to Community Options, we're there. If you go to our race, which is coming up, Cupid's Chase, all they have to do is Google that, and it'll lead them into our Community Options websites. We're all over the country. And Robert Stack. There's Robert Stack, the actor who passed away. But if you go Robert Stack Community Options, it comes up as well, or CEO Robert Stack, whatever. But Community Options is the easiest way to find us on any Google or Bing or any of those kinds of search engines.
Cupid's Chase. How did this event start?
Well, we realized that people like to run, and that's becoming more of a easy thing to get people involved in. And then we tried it on different times, and then several years ago we decided to have it on the Valentine's Day weekend, and we did. And then we got a little bit more sophisticated, and it's been growing every year. And now we have, if you come, Bob, you can get a shirt, and it'll say either available on the back. It'll be a red shirt, or it'll say unavailable, which will be a white shirt. So it depends on what your status is relative to your having a girlfriend or not. And we have a 5K run. It's evolved like that, and it's very, very much fun. And we're in, as I said, we're in 8 states. We run them simultaneously this Saturday. So if your team wins, you should celebrate and run. If your team loses, you should feel depressed and you should get out all that aggression and you should run. But either way, you should run, and you should come the races. Registration starts at 8. You can register online at Cupid's Chase, and the race starts at 10 o'clock no matter where you are. You'll be in Burlington or Morristown or New Brunswick or Princeton, or you could be in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh or Binghamton or New York or Syracuse or anywhere you want. You could be in Nashville. You could be in Dallas, wherever you want to go, and we have a race ready for you.
The significance of an event like that on Valentine's weekend, in many cases it would seem obvious, but what benefit do you get in terms of attention, in terms of people even learning about the work that you're doing and about the abilities of the people that you're working with?
Thank you. There are people with disabilities that are in all these races. They might be there with their families. Some of them run, some of them don't, some of them watch. It's also an opportunity. People come there, and we have tables at every race where you can even apply for a job, or you can volunteer if you want to in one of our houses, or volunteer in one of the schools that we work with kids with disabilities who are going to graduate and they're going to need a job. It really, really kind of, and again, Bob, when you talk about the evolution, several years ago, we had 400 people. Last year, I talked to you, we had over 5,000 people, and that was after the whole, all of the nature that played its dirty tricks on us. This year, we're anticipating anywhere between 8 to 10,000 racers nationwide. So we're getting recognition in the sense that we're one of the largest races, I believe, in the country that's simultaneous, the same day.
You're expecting 10,000 people this year?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So they're registering like crazy online. You can go on Cupid's Chase. You can even have a team. If you want to be a team, you could have Bob's runners, and you could have 5 of your friends. You can get people to get involved with you on different social media places. There's a whole variety of different kinds of ways that people can get involved.
Why is it that people say they do get involved? I guess I'm asking in a way kind of what's also the spirit of that day? Well,
it's a way that people can feel good about their community. There's all of the races are local, so people feel good about it. There's people, for example, that just run to run. There are people that run because they believe in our cause. And then what's nice is the people that run to run, and then they find out about our cause, which is really, really the best kind of thing. And then there's the folks that run because they're thinking it's a nice place to maybe meet somebody that they could go out with. I mean, we've actually had people do that.
In that case, it's a real Cupid's chase ongoing. So
exactly. You just have to keep up with them.
You've actually had people develop successful relationships as a result of it?
We've had people develop successful relationships. We've had people meet, talk about each other on Facebook type of things, and then they go, and then somehow they meet each other. We've had people go out and talk to each other after the race, and then actually form relationships. We haven't had any marriages yet, but that we don't know about that. But people have actually met at our races. And they're available because it says available on the back of each other's shirt.
What a great advertising in a way, be able to have that on your shirt and be able to identify people in that fashion. The idea of being involved with a team, you mentioned before that, there could be basically, you could have a group of 5. Is there a certain requirement in terms of a minimum number of people that would be involved in a team?
No, it could be as little as 2, as many as you want. They could even be in different cities. You could have a team that races each other or races together. But the teams have different names. Whatever you want to call yourself, you can put yourself online, and that can be we have anything. We have I'm looking at some of the names: Team Braveheart, Pink Ladies, and they all have their own little group. So yes, you can be as large or as small as you want to be.
Now the other thing is everybody necessarily running, or are there some people who are participating in other ways?
No, there's people that are running fast, and there's people that are running slow, and there's people that are having a gradual, easy stroll through the 5. It's only 5K, so it's only 3 miles. It's not that intimidating. It's not a really big long run. It's on Christopher Street. You're running along the water in Manhattan. It's in Princeton. It's right on Harrison Street. It's in Glen Rock, but they're small, and there's a lot of fun stuff. There's food there. There's all of the typical things you have at a race. There's the bananas and the bagels and that sort of thing. So there's all of that nice stuff that you can get there, and people have a great time.
And the event takes place this coming Saturday, which is February 8th.
Exactly, February 8th, and the race starts at 10, and registration's at 8. It's less expensive if you register online. It's also easier for us to get you the right size shirt and the right status, either available or unavailable.
We are in discussion with Robert Stack. Robert is President, CEO of Community Options Incorporated, and he is talking with us about the work of the organization. After our 7 o'clock update, Super Bowl Sunday morning, Richard Neer will be along. Should be a very interesting discussion with him on his program from 7 to 8, and after 8, Rick Wolf will be in with the Sports Edge. And, of course, Mike Francesa is along after our 9 o'clock update with the Football Sunday program, appropriately enough, on Super Bowl Sunday morning. We're talking about the Cupid's Chase event next Saturday, the 8th. As I understand, kind of in conjunction with the anniversary of Community Options Incorporated, you're also honoring a former governor of New Jersey. Would you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, thanks for asking. We've when I incorporated this organization, literally, Bob, I filled out all the forms by hand, and I walked down to the Secretary of State's office in Trenton, or drove down to the Secretary of State's office in Trenton, and the governor then was Governor Tom Kean, and he is such a wonderful guy. And he did an awful lot to promote legislation to help people with disabilities expand their they used to never, in New Jersey, they never helped people with autism until he became the governor. They never had some preventions. People don't realize it, that, it's not, you shouldn't drink if you're pregnant. And we did a lot more of that stuff. And he created the Governor's Council on Prevention for people with disabilities. He expanded the role of mental retardation to help people with other disabilities like autism, cerebral palsy. He's the guy that did that, and no one really kind of knows that. And he's the nicest man. I mean, he really is a kind fella. And so we asked him if we could honor him in celebration of our 25th anniversary. Very graciously accepted. And we're going to have a gala in Princeton at the old Governor's Mansion in Marvin in May 8th as well. And so we're very excited about that. And everyone's welcome to come, and I'm sure he would enjoy any people who wanted to hear him speak or meet him. And he's such a wonderful guy.
Now, the kinds of things that support the efforts of Community Options Incorporated obviously include the Cupid's Chase event, this gala that takes place. What other events take place throughout the year that support your work?
We have a lot of small things. We sell the flowers, the poinsettias, and at the holidays are always good. But our major thing right now is this big gala that I hope people come to. And the Cupid's Chase is really wonderful. And people can go online and look at the services that we provide. But we have a variety of different kinds of small fundraisers that we have, where we get hooked up with different kinds of supermarkets and stores, and they get involved with us as well. So our major thing, though, Bob, is we're trying to get people with disabilities jobs, and we're trying to and the other thing I think is important to mention to you is all of the money that we raise is used wherever we locally make it, and so we use it to try to advance the lives of people with disabilities on a very, very direct level. So if a person gives $1 in New Jersey, it's used in New Jersey. If they give $1 in Lubbock, Texas, it's used in Lubbock, Texas. So it doesn't matter wherever it is. It's a matter of wherever it is, that's where we provide the service, and that's where we try to help that person.
That effort in getting people with disabilities jobs, how intense can that be at times?
Oh, it's a lot of work. It's a tremendous amount of work, because you're constantly trying to prove that they can have a job. But we also do unpaid internships. Very important. If a person wants to bring in a person with a disability into their company, we'll work with them as student interns when they're 16 or 17, in the hopes that whenever they finish school with a disability, that maybe that company will give them a job. We have been doing this in several hospitals in New Jersey, and that's been working out well. We've done it in other places throughout the country, and we're very, very excited about that as well. So that's something we try to push.
And are for people who are listening to our discussion who maybe they would be interested in, exploring that sort of an idea, is the best approach for them to go through the website?
Yeah, just contact Community Options. We're available. You just go on our website. There's phone numbers for every local area that you're in. We have 8 offices just in New Jersey alone. We have offices all through the regions, all throughout the country. But you just go to Community Options. Just Google Community Options, and we're right there. And you can get in touch with us. There's the local executive directors who are there, and you can either email them. Their email address is on there. Their phone number is on there. You can call them and leave a message if you want to volunteer with us, or if you're looking for a job, or you have a son or a daughter with a disability and you don't know what to do. Maybe we can't help you, but we can point you in the right direction, and we can give you a referral that might be beneficial to you as well.
Now, you mentioned volunteers, and this is an area that I always think is of interest because sometimes people are listening to discussions, they might be interested in getting involved, being supportive of an organization, and the thing that they have that's available is time. What kind of roles do volunteers have with your organization?
It's a very strong role. I mean, if it's Cupid's Chase, where we're running next weekend, they're some of the people that are making sure that people are registered or giving the water when they're running up the hill. Or if it's on a regular basis, they're helping a person with disability. They might take them to the movies. They might take them to something to do. And then there's a whole other variety. We have had people contact us and say, "How can we help? We don't really want to. We only have a weekend involved. We don't really want to take people to the movies. We don't feel comfortable. What else can we do?" Hey, you know what? Could you help us paint the house inside? We just need some. Oh yeah, so we get a group of people. We've had pharmaceutical companies come to us and say, "We'll help paint an entire house inside, the whole house, and do that within a period of like two days." And it's great. So there's a variety of different kinds of ways that volunteers can help us.
Now, I guess I always open a door when asking this question of somebody who's involved with a nonprofit organization. But, 25 years into Community Options, what do you see ahead for the organization? And then the other aspect of that is kind of what's on your wish list?
Well, thank you. Where I see us is, Bob, there's still a lot of families out there who don't know where to go. To give you an example, in New Jersey, there's thousands of people that are on a waiting list. I'd like to see if we can get that waiting list cut down. My wish is that more people can get involved with seeing the value and, as you say, the abilities of people with disabilities, to see what they're capable of doing. It's the very old thing I say that, it's like that old Cheers commercial where everybody knows your name and they're all so glad you came. Like that show. We want people with disabilities to just be part of the fabric of the community, to be, looked at being no different than anybody else. That's the vision we've always had. Community Options is continuing to grow. We grow 5 to 10% a year every year. We have a sustained growth that's slow, that's meaningful. We don't try to go run down the street with our hair on fire, so to speak. We're very controlled in how we do things. So we just want to continue to do this as long as we can. And I think 25 years we've shown the United States, we've shown the world that we are an organization that's going to be around, that we're sustainable, and our businesses are sustainable. And people need flowers. They know to come to Vaseville. And if people need to run, they should run this weekend.
Real life choices we have not discussed thus far in our program. What's that?
It's a program where again, families need to get involved in what they want to try for their kids with disabilities that may be a little bit different than what they've historically done. So maybe they call us and we'll try to figure out Example, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, they're taking care of Joe, their son. We'll come in and we might take Joe for just a weekend, or we might take him for the day, so that maybe they can have a day at home where they can relax, or maybe a week. It's an answer to, camps are wonderful for kids, but adults don't really go to camps. So we try to provide what they're called respite services, where we come in and we provide some sorts of time so that the families can be able to experience time together, the parents, without the person with disability there as well. And because we're trained and we're professionals, we can provide that service. And I think that is very, very helpful.
Now, for folks who've just joined us in our discussion, take us again through what's involved for somebody who wants to take part in Cupid's Chase next weekend.
Thank you. We're community options. All you have to do is Google Cupid's Chase, and we're right there. You can click on whatever city that you want us to be on. You just Google Cupid's Chase or community options. Either one. You can find out about our services. You can find out about our exciting race on February 8th. It's coming up. We're looking for as many runners as we can, and we're very, very happy about that.
Robert Stack, who is President, CEO of Community Options Incorporated, our guest on our program this morning. Very interesting discussion. It certainly keeps the organization continues to evolve, and it's amazing what you've been able to accomplish in these first 25 years of the organization. Are you at all surprised by all that you have accomplished?
Yeah, every day. Every day I wake up and I'm excited about, I always say, I've said to my brother, how's work? And he said, Robert, you don't get up and go to fun, you get up and go to work. I get up and I go to fun. And that's what this is. This is fun when we can see a person with a disability actually have a job, when we can see a person with a disability, get on a van and go somewhere that they're going to enjoy, when we see someone able to live independently, even if it means that they can make their toast for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of thing that makes me tick and makes me feel good about what's going on.
Well, good for you, and you continue having fun. Thank you very much for joining us, and congratulations on the anniversary.
Thank you so much.